Welcome to the Glenn Beck program. About a year ago on this show, I asked you to talk to your friends. I told you what was coming. In fact, I remember my exact words. I said, a year from now, next Christmas, this coming Christmas, you won't recognize America. I told you a few things that were coming, and I asked you to tell your friends. I'm sure they called you crazy. I know I was mocked by the press and the left. But you're awake, and your friends probably told you, oh, it's still going to be America. Right. But if you told your friends the things I asked you to tell them a year ago, I want you to check back in with them. I want you to give them an update and ask them, why did you fight me if it wasn't a big deal? One, that the Fed would monetize our debt after promising us that they wouldn't. Oh, we have some on this with Ben Bernanke in a minute. They said, no, well, not going to happen. Well, it is. You told them that Europe would be on the brink of disaster and there would be people rioting in the streets. No. They said, no, that wouldn't happen. If you told them a year ago that trying to get onto an airplane here to travel, you'd get felt up by invasive pat-downs and sent through porn scanners that would take naked pictures of you, and then Chucky Schumer would say, oh, we're going to protect you while we're protecting you from those naked pictures, they would have said, it's not going to happen. If you told them that Russia, a company named Arms that actually has sold uranium to Iran, was given control of 50% of the U.S. uranium output in Wyoming, you would have been called crazy. If you told them that the administration would completely bypass Congress in order to pass new broadcast rules that make net neutrality, another regulation they're going around Congress and the courts to get, it would look like child's play. They would have told you it's not going to happen. Would they have believed that federal law enforcement agencies are tracking by putting GPS without a warrant under people's cars? And now, as we told you on this program, and hopefully you told your friends it would come, we find out now American credit card transactions are being tracked in real time without a warrant. I'm sure if you said that to them a few months back, they said, no, not in America. That's crazy. It's not going to happen here. Well, all of those things are happening now. Look how far we've progressed in the last year. And you know what? It's not slowing down. Can you imagine what America looks like after another year of this kind of progress? Buckle up. It's going to be a bumpy ride. And tonight, I want to make another prediction. At the same time I made it last year. America, another year, and you won't recognize your country yet again next Christmas. But you do have a choice, and hopefully it's a little clearer as to why you must take a stand and make a choice. Come on. Hello, America. Last Thursday, I hosted a town hall in Pittsburgh, and it was simulcast in movie theaters all across the country. If you missed it, there is an encore this Wednesday, December 8th at 8 p.m., but I spent a lot of time on solutions in the back half. But the first half, I laid out the extent of what we're facing. Now, I know if you're watching this program or you TiVo this show every night, you're probably wide awake and you are ready to be part of the solution. However, there are many more people in this country who don't understand what we're facing. They think it's all going to work out because we're America and it always works out in America. Does it now, really? I'm not sure what else it's going to take to get those people on board. I mean, how many slam dunk arguments do you have to win before they start listening? At the town hall, I took this chalkboard and I showed, in the first part, just how bad the budgets were. California is worse than Greece. We're in a much worse situation than Europe is. And need I remind you that cars are burning in Greece. It's getting so bad that even the New York Times finally this weekend was jumping on the, wait, this isn't going to end well here, bandwagon. Here's the article. It was on the front page of the New York Times yesterday. Mounting debts by states stoke fears of crisis. No. Well, welcome to the party, New York Times. May I ask what it was that kept you from having this take in the first place? You know, when all the facts were exactly the same, but you called this program and anybody who watched it crazy? I'm sorry. No, that's not. You use a thesaurus. You don't just say crazy. What was it you called me? A Fox News mad, apocalyptic, tearful rising star. That's right. It's too easy to call me crazy. I'm glad the people of the New York Times took a few minutes just to climb down from their ivory tower and join us here in reality land for a few minutes. Thanks for stopping by. Anyway, I was out in Pittsburgh and I was showing the audience how bad things were. One of the things I like about Pittsburgh is PRIMANTI Brothers. Oh, I mean, if you've never been to Pittsburgh, that's the reason to go. It's just so excessive that I think it makes me love it so much. It's just unnecessary to have that much food. It's why Michelle Obama cries herself to sleep every night thinking of PRIMANTI Brothers. I used this sandwich. In fact, in the end, I think I had 400 of them on stage with me to illustrate just how ridiculous the conversations between politicians in Washington really are. This is what they're doing to the budget. Watch. Meet Michelle Obama's worst nightmare. Let's say that this is our budget. And our budget isn't dollars, it's calories. I am going to cut federal spending that much. But this isn't even enough sandwich. And we're still talking about cutting this. Again, I apologize to Michelle Obama. I should have warned you that tasty food was about to be shown. Think happy thoughts, tofu, redistribution of wealth. You know, Winston, Harry Winston, earrings, or Marxism, or whatever works for you. The sandwich skit was over the top, and that's why I did it, to wake people up, to show you that if our sandwiches, our budget is enormous, and we're making a joke out, we are mocking the American people. I don't know if you could hear it on tape, on this next tape that I play for you, but there was an audible gasp in the audience when I showed a chart from the middle of the book, Broke, about just the interest payment on our debt. Watch this and listen. The last chart, please. Show the last chart. Okay, the first green bar is the Department of Education for a year. The next one is the Department of Housing and Urban Development for a year. Then the next one is, spread your legs, you're going to enjoy this one, Department of Homeland Security. Oh yeah, baby. Then you have the interest payment on our debt. But all of the green bars are annual. The red bar is monthly. Times it by 12. You're getting an idea of how bad the problems are in America. I want to dogpile on that thought for a minute, because even if you already get it, I guarantee you that you're one person and there's at least 5 around you that have no idea. You must be able to talk to those 5 people in your sphere of influence. You know, when I wrote this thing, you notice there's not been anybody who's come out and said any of these facts are wrong. There are 50 pages of fine print footnotes. I wrote it so you could win every argument. The facts are grave, and they're just piling up now. The Fed recently downgraded the outlook for the U.S. economy. No, they think it's going to get worse now? Ben Bernanke just came out and said this last night.
This fear of inflation, I think, is way overstated. We've looked at it very, very carefully. We've analyzed it every which way. One myth that's out there is that what we're doing is printing money. We're not printing money. No.
Do you anticipate a scenario in which you would commit to more than $600 billion?
Oh, it's certainly possible. And again, it depends on the efficacy of the program. It depends on inflation. And finally, it depends on how the economy looks.
Inflation? I thought you just said there was no inflation. And by the way, you know what's crazy about it? You know, a great follow-up question here would have been, hey, so you're not printing the money. Where are you getting the money to, you know, to buy all the bonds? Oh, that's right. You're not printing it. You're digitizing it. Oh, completely different. This administration and this government has put us into a hole. And they haven't done anything to put us into a position of success for the long term. They have increased the deficit by spending trillions of dollars that we don't have. They have used trillions we don't have to prop up jobs that will go away when the handouts go away. Solyndra, do you remember this company in California? This is one that Obama touted. Said, this is the greatest company ever. It got $535 million in stimulus. He was marketing it as a potential national champion that would save us. Last month, they announced that they were closing one of the 2 plants and delaying the expansion of the second plant. So we're pinning our hopes on things like that. They're good. No, seriously, the experts are great. We've got our hopes pinned on green jobs. In Spain, that's working out really well. Spain only has an unemployment of 20.8%. So don't worry about that. You want to see our future 5-6 years into the future, Ben? Look at the EU. They're always just a few steps ahead of us when it comes to the redistribution of wealth thing. And people are rioting after the bailouts have failed to solve anything. And the new economic solution over the EU? More bailouts. They want to increase now the $1 trillion bailout fund to maybe $2 trillion. It doesn't work. If the bailouts are QE2 or TARP or stimulus or whatever you call it, you can call it a bag of cute little bunnies. It's still a bailout. And if they continue to deal with the economy this way, it's only a matter of time before everything in Europe and eventually everything here crumbles. Unemployment jumped from 9.6% to 9.8%. Remember, this administration said we had to pass the stimulus or else unemployment might reach 9%. That was the big fear-mongering number, 9%. And they guaranteed if the stimulus passed, unemployment wouldn't go over 8%. I think that's over 8%. Again, economists are surprised. This is what they actually said. Economists were surprised. It unexpectedly jumped. How many times do these people have to be wrong before we start listening to ourselves? Now President Obama wants more unemployment benefits as a condition for extending the Bush tax cuts. Okay, look, compassion says yes. But could we just look at this? We already have 2 years of unemployment. Now they want to add maybe another 13 months. To put that into perspective, that is just under a year short of a college degree. Did you have changes in your life from freshman to senior in college? How different would the mindset of those who have been unemployed for over 3 years be? 3 years you're not working. Will you be able to compete? Or will we need a retraining program as well? Also, did you see over the weekend the lines in Georgia? Who knew it got cold in Georgia? Must be that global warming thing, huh? They had freezing temperatures recently, and people are actually waiting in line for government handouts to help pay for electric bills. People there said it was depression-like. Well, guess what? Our president wants to raise your energy prices, you know, for the good of the planet and the Jaguars. I'll get to the Jaguar goddess in a minute. But remember, the president in his own words.
Under my plan of a cap-and-trade system, electricity rates would necessarily skyrocket.
Okay, so without a cap-and-trade program, it's necessarily skyrocketing. Have you seen the price of gas? But don't worry, Ben Bernanke says there's no inflation at all. In Pennsylvania, power companies are sending notices right now that rates are going up at the beginning of the year 30%. How do you pay for that? The handouts can't last forever. They can't go to everyone. What happens when it runs out? People's homes are freezing. Do we do what is now being reported is being done in Europe? Old people are now riding the buses all day and all night to stay warm. Here's something I want you to tell your friends, and I need you to understand this clearly. The things that are happening to us now are by design. It is what radicals want. I told you they would seize this opportunity. Do you remember? Most people will dread economic recessions and depressions, but some people don't dread them. Some people are a little more opportunistic. They view this as their big chance, a window of opportunity to seize power, to fundamentally transform things. They don't see it as, oh my gosh, we're struggling. They see this as, now is our time.